It's very cheap. You said Earthstone?
Yeah, they cover most of it because of
Yeah,
all the
Earthstone is very.
but she's like, I'm paying for my whole swim board.
I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go.
Okay.
All right.
Where are we at? I did it yet.
We got to the Mishnah. We went.
You went all the way to the Mishnah?
Yeah, I forgot to give a warning.
Oh, all right. I'll have to make that up.
My bad.
Oh, man.
What's that, 9?
I got onto
It's
this.
it's one sugya. Yeah, it's sort of like continues.
No, best. Okay, recording. So we're
Is it recording? Oh, I didn't know that. My bad. All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Pei Daled in Maseches Ksubos. So we got to the Mishnah Pei Daled.
Ahmed.
Amud Aleph.
Okay, I
In the
got it.
front, yeah. So we got actually down to the Mishnah, right? Sort of a sugi over there. What? So Mishnah starts off. Misha Meis V'Hiniach Isha Ubal Chayv V'Yarshin. So somebody who dies and he leaves over a wife who is basically owed a ksuba, a balchov. He has creditors, V'Yarshin, and children that inherit him. V'hayalo, and in addition to that, complicate matters a little more. V'hayalo pikadoi, no milva, and he had a deposit. He deposited something of value by somebody else, or milva, or he loaned someone money. So he also has receivables. He had a chayrim. You go ahead and you give it to the weakest one of them, right? In other words, the weakest one, the one who has the worst. The one who has basically the worst point of the weakest hand of collection, right? And so basically it's point out, which would basically be either whoever has like the most recent star, right? Whoever has the most recent star, that would be who collects. So they take the loan from the person who borrowed from the deceased person. Rabbi Kiva Aimer. No, we don't give it to the weakest one. We don't care. Okay, you're the weakest position. You might not be able to go ahead and collect. Ella, rather we give it to the inheritors. Why? Because anybody who has to pay, they have to make a shvua, right? That they weren't paid already, that they're still owed the money, whether it's the creditors, the people who are owed money by the person who died, or the wife. And therefore, it all goes, the receivables that the father had before he died goes to his Yarshin. That is the Shita of Rebbe Akiva. Now, that's case number one. Case number two. If there was loose fruit that was left, in other words, basically, right, movable objects that are of value. So anything that whoever grabbed them and took them, then they can keep them, right? Whether it's the creditors, the children, the wife. However, Isha, the woman took it. She, let's say, took extra. In other words, she took more than 200 zuzah that was owed to her. Or the guy who was owed, $1,000, took the assets and there was $1,200 worth. So Hamaiser, what do you do with the extra money? So once again, Rabbi Tarfon Amir, you're not saying the question of hand. Give it to the one who has the weakest hand, basically the one with the most recent document. And Rabbi Kiva Amir, no, in Merachim of Din, we don't have no mercy in the case of Din. Eli Yinasnu Yarshin, rather we give it to the inheritors. Why? Because they have the strongest position, right? The others need to go before when they collect. They have to collect the shvua. The inheritors do not, and therefore we give it to the orphans, and they go ahead and they take it. And the others want to go ahead and collect from them. They have to make a shvua to take it out. That was the mission. Zok the Gemara. Lamali lemisni milva, lamali lemisni pikado. So why did it say over there? So someone died. He left over, creditors, a wife to make suba and yorshin. And he had either a deposit by somebody else, right? Normally a pikadon is, let's say, an object, gold coins, and you take back those gold coins, or cash. Cash is used to spend. So why did they have both cases? So you need both cases. If we just had a loan, why? Maybe in this case, Rabbi Tarfon says you give it to the ones who still need to collect, who have the weakest hand. Because once you give a loan, right, we don't care about that dollars. It's already considered to be spent, and it's new money's coming in. But if it's an object, these gold coins, the ECBA, that we can see these coins, maybe Maybe you would agree that since these objects are still in existence, they belong to the Yarshin, to the heirs, right? So therefore, the orphans go ahead and collect that, and the others maybe. So you would agree with Rabbi Kiva. Vitana baha, and if we just had the case of the creditors, Rabbi Kiva, maybe in that case, Rabbi Kiva says, since these gold coins, let's say, are in existence, so those go to the Yarshin. But if it was just cash, or there was payables of Abahach, and then maybe we give it to the weakest one. Therefore, it's Sricha. Therefore, we need both cases. And the Kaisha, what does it mean? The Kaisha is the weakest one. Rabbi Yisrael Chanina Omer, the Kaisha Shebaraya, right? The one who has the weakest proof, right? The one who has basically, the one who has the most recent document that he has the least amount of people he can go back to and say, hey, I had, if he had only a recent loan, he wouldn't be able to collect from anybody, right? So therefore, we go to the one with the weakest argument. Rabbi Yechon Almar the Ksubas Isha, the Ksubas Isha, that's a reference to the weakest one. And why is she the weakest? Mishum China, right? Because it's not the derech of the woman to go around to go ahead and collect from buyers or people, other people. So therefore, since they're in the weak position and we want the women to get married, so therefore we don't make them go ahead and chase around their ksuba. And Kitanai is actually Machlas Tanai, Rabbi Binyamin Aimer, the Kaisha Shevaraya, right? The one who is the weakest raya, who kosher. All right, and that's and that's the way to do it. It was the one who has the weakest. The one who has the weakest position. He says no. The ksuba of the woman, she goes ahead and gets the money because of her weak position. That's not the derech of the woman to go around. Hiniach, 3 lines in the bottom. Hiniach, or last word of the line. Hiniach payers atlushin, leftover movable, let's say fruit, assets, right? Rabbi Kiva, Samai Ari Meiser. Why does Rabbi Kiva say only if Rabbi Kiva says the money all goes to the Yarshin? So why do he say if the woman who goes out and collects her ksuba, then if it was too much, then the extra goes to the Yarshin? Rabbi Kiva Ma'iri Meiser, Kulanami, the Yarshin Havi. It all belongs to the Yarshin. So Gemara answers no, Enechanami. You're right. Really, it all goes. Everything has to be returned. But Rabbi Tarfon Meiser, since Rabbi Tarfon says, okay, whoever goes ahead and collects it, they can keep it, and there's extras, Meiser, Satana Yunami Meiser. Therefore, he also says the extras, but he also referring to everything has to go according to Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva, Tafsa Tvisa Laimanik Cloud. According to Rabbi Kiva, if someone goes ahead and takes it out of order, it doesn't work. In other words, they weren't supposed to go ahead and collect a creditor. It wasn't his turn. It's supposed to go to the Yarshin. So Amarava, Amarav Nachman, V'hu Shetafas Mechai. The only time that it does work is if a creditor goes ahead and takes money while the guy is still alive. While Reuven is still alive, one of the creditors, the guy that he borrowed money from, goes ahead and seizes one of his, his collectibles or his pikadon. So then that works. Then we don't remove it. But if after he dies, then we take it away. Now, Rabbi Tarfon, according to Rabbi Tarfon, who says that if someone goes ahead and takes basically the loan or an item, they go ahead and keep it. Rabbi Tarfon, D'Menachi Heicha. Where is it? Where is this object? In other words, let's say the Reuven left it in his backyard. So it's really in the possession of the Yarshin. How could the woman or the creditors go ahead and take it? It's Rabbi Shmuel. It has to be Shus Rabbim. It has to be in an area where you don't make a kinyan of kinyan chatzer. About besimta low. But if it was already even something which is semi-private, right? Not even a full chatzar, even a semi-private, then they wouldn't be able to go ahead and take it because it belongs to the Yarshin. Rabbi Yechon, Rabbi Shlakish, even besimta, even if it was in a public area, they still wouldn't be able to get it because that's already considered to be in the Rishus of the Yarshin. It's only if that would be considered to be a public way, and therefore, it says even if it was in a simta, then they would be able to go ahead and acquire it there. It's not the Rishus of the Yarshin. Now we have a couple cases. Dun dining Rabbi Tarfon. So there was a judgment like Rabbi Tarfon. Now Rabbi Tarfon said, basically, if a creditor comes and takes it, they can keep it. Okay. Rabbi Kiva was the one who says, no, it goes to the Yarshin, goes to the orphans. So there was a ruling to Rabbi Tarfon, and then what happened? Reish Lakish says, no, you got to return it. You got to be like Rabbi Kiva, who said, give it to the Yarshin. So I'm Rabbi Yechanas. What?
Why the Yarshin will take the creditor?
Yeah, but they have to make a shua that they would never pay. But they're not first in line. And Achanami, and certain things they would have to pay, certain things they wouldn't. If it's movable objects, if it's land, right? So in other words, but there would still be a shua required. You can't just go ahead and take it out of order. So Rabbi Yochanan says, no, Asisa Kshel Torah. He says, what? You made it like Kshel Torah? Say, Halacha Moshe Sinai, that whoever takes it, why did you reverse the decision, right? You should have reversed it. It should stay with the creditor who took it to the Baal Choiv. Salema Baal Kamifli. Damar Savar Tabar Davar Mishnah Chayzer. One who holds that one who makes a mistake in Davar Mishnah, you know, the Mishnah rule, let's say like Rabbi Akiva, and therefore, since you didn't rule like Rabbi Akiva, you have to be Chayzer. Umar Savar Tabar Davar Mishnah Eina Chayzer, something which is learned, right, which is even though it's Beferish, then you don't have to reverse it. He says, no, if something is a mistake, it's a halachic ruling that goes connected, a Mishnah, Ferish Mishnah, that does chayzer. Here's the machlekes. Mar savar halach Rabbi Kiva mechavera v'lo mirabo. One holds halachas Rabbi Kiva, right, when he argues with one of his companions, right, v'lo mirabo, now his Rebbe. In other words, Rabbi Tarfon was the Rebbe of Rabbi Kiva. So the halacha is always like Rabbi Kiva, except against Rabbi Tarfon. So therefore, says Rabbi, so you say Rabbi Tarfon. Well, Mar Savar halacha afilu meirab. The halacha is like Rabbi Kiva, even against his Rebbe, even against Rabbi Tarfon. Or Viboy Sema. The Kuliyam halacha Rabbi Kiva mechaver lo meirabo. Everyone says no. It's only Rabbi Kiva against his colleagues, and not Rabbi Kiva over his Rebbe. So what's the machlokes here? How could you say why would you rule like reverse it like Rabbi Kiva and not say Rabbi Tarfon? One says no, that Rabbi Tarfon indeed was his Rebbe, therefore he had to rule like Rabbi Tarfon in this case. And the other one said no, that Rish Lakish would say no, that he was not his Rebbe, rather Rabbi Tarfon was Rabbi Kiva's colleague, and therefore you don't reverse, and therefore you rule like Rabbi Kiva, you reverse the ruling. Or everybody, same in the Kuliyama Chaver, he really was his colleague. Here's machlekes. Mar Savar halacha itamar. One says the halacha is always like Rabbi Akiva, and therefore, since there's a fair statement, the halacha is like him, you reverse it. Mar Savar mati itamar. The other one says no, we only lean generally to that case. And Krivid Rabbi Yochanan Tov is part the Asmik, the Simcha. So there was a Maisa where the relatives of Rabbi Yochanan, I guess, were owed money. They go ahead and they grabbed a cow of that would potentially, of orphans. Their father died, and it was their cow, but it was out in the sita in a semi-public area. And the creditors grabbed it before it went. So basically, the creditors, the relatives of Rabbi Yochanan, acted like Rabbi Tarfon, and now Rabbi Kiva says it goes to the orphans. So also look at my Rabbi Yochanan, so he told them, "Shabir tavstua, you guys did well." Right now, you're allowed to take it because remember, Rabbi Yochanan was the one who just ruled earlier. That if you want, you can go like Rabbi Tarfon. And also, Rabbi Shimon Lakish, they came from Rabbi Lakish, Amalu, Zilu, Ahader. So they have to go ahead and return it. We rule like Rabbi Kiva, return it to the orphans. Also, coming to Rabbi Yochanan, we came back to Rabbi Yochanan and says, "Hey, we bumped into Rabbi Lakish. We told him what happened." So Amalu, so he said, "What can I do? Shekinegdi Chalukulai." Right? Someone who's greater than me in Torah ruled. He argues with me. So, my hands are tied. If he said, we got to return it, then maybe you should return it. Hahu dekora diyasmi the tafsi tura mine. So there was a roa, right? A guy who was watching the shepherd or whatever. He was watching the cowboy, right? Whatever it was, right? He was watching the animals, right? That was his job. So he's bakra, right? He watches the bakra of orphans. The tafsi tura mine. That someone took a creditor, the guy died who hired this herdsman, right? And so he had a herdsman, he had kids, right? And the guy who died had kids. Nevertheless, a creditor came along and took one of the cows for Balchov. So Torah Minei Balchov, so Amar. So he says, Amar Mechaim Tafsina Lei, right? So the guy said, I took it while the guy was still alive. Before Reuben died, I took the animal. Ubakra Amar Le'achamisa Tafse. What are you talking about? It was during the Shiva. The guy took it after he died. So also the Kamei, Rav Nachman, did you have any witnesses that you took it while he was still alive? Amar Le'lav, no. Samarle Migu Diyachol Le'meimar Lakuchau Biyadi Yachol Le'meimar Mechai Tafsinu Lei. Since he could have said, right, that instead of taking it, right, while he was alive, he could have said, I bought it from him. Right? Since he could have said, I bought it from him, and only said I took it from him. So therefore, he has a migli, he should be believed. Since he could have said, therefore,
isn't that the whole point?
Now what?
Not necessarily from accountant.
Right, no, but over here, he has no proof, right, that, it's in his possession.
I don't
So
have,
let's see.
the orphan herdsman was watching it, so he's, how's that make it orphan?
What do you mean? Their father hired a guy to watch their
No,
animals.
it says the guy's hired for the orphans, that means he was post,
No. He was the whole time. He was there the whole time.
it's not a specific orphan, it's just he was a herdsman.
Right, he was a herdsman for the
Yeah,
family.
I thought I didn't watch
He was
it.
a herdsman for the family. So the other guy says, I took it while the guy was alive, and the herdsman was saying it was after the guy died. So if it was while the guy's alive, then the creditor can keep it. If it was after he died, then he should return it, right? Because it belongs to the kids, right? So he says, okay, but it's in his possession. You can't, right? So he said, movable objects, right? There is no chazaka, right? There's no chazaka. So since they're moving around, so you can't prove that it was in his possession. So the Gemara answers, in other words, you can't just rule like him. So the Gemara answers, no. Shani Torah, the Mesira L'Raya, since it's given over to someone who guards it, so therefore that he can't say that a movable object, wherever it ends up, it's not proof of who owns it over here. Since Lamaisa, the creditor took it, and normally an animal which is being watched by a person is under his watch. How did he get in his possession? So therefore, then we can assume that there is a chazaka in such a case. We'll do one last case, debate in the CEO. Right, we can go even weiter, but people already left, and I don't want to have too many people fall behind. So the Bein Nasi, so the house of the Nasi, Tafsu Amsa the Yasmei V'Simta, right? They were orphans in the house of the Nasi, and they went ahead and they grabbed an Amsa. No, they were the Bein Nasi. No. So they were creditors. They were creditors, and Tafsu Amsa the Yasmei V'Simta. They were creditors. And they were owed money by somebody who died, and he left it for maidservants, and the creditors went ahead from the Bein Nasi, they chopped up these maidservants, and they were in like a semi-public area. So Yasi Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Chanina Bar Papi, Rabbi Yitzhak, Rabbi Yosef, and they were saying Rabbi Abba Gabayo, and Rabbi Abba was sitting in front of them, was Amar Lohud. So he said to them, Shabbat Tavastua, right? You guys did good. You're allowed to go ahead and take them. So Amar Lohud, Rabbi Abba turned to the three of them and says, Nashun the Bein Nasiya, Ninu Mechan Fisu, right? Because he's Bein Nasi, you're going to go ahead and kiss up to them, right? You're going to go ahead and kiss up to them. These creditors did something good by taking away after the guy died, the maidservants of the orphans. They should go to the orphans. Don't die, because even though Rabbi Tarfon, we judge cases and says, okay, if they took it, they took it. Nevertheless, Reish Lakish says, if they took it, you should go ahead and give it back. In other words, you guys did not act well. In other words, don't do Hanifa, don't go ahead and kiss up, because in this case, really, you should not have taken the maidservants, and you should go ahead back and return the maidservants. All right, we'll stop here before the next Maisa. So tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem, we'll pick up. Hopefully, we'll have a little more time tomorrow. We will have coffee, right? We'll enjoy. We'll sit. So everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Shkoyach.